What if I told you that everything you've been searching for, everything you've been striving to achieve, is within reach, but it requires one simple yet profound decision? What if the peace you've been longing for, the answers you seek, and the purpose you desire could all be found by stepping into something much greater than your own understanding? I'm not talking about your wisdom, your plans, or your vision of the future. I'm talking about something divine, something greater than you could ever imagine. A wisdom that transcends human logic and that will elevate your life in ways you cannot yet fathom. Do you understand what I'm saying? My ways are higher than your ways, and they hold the key to everything you seek. Are you ready to embrace them? The truth is, you've been looking for answers in all the wrong places, trying to find solutions that only leave you more confused and more lost. You look to the world for wisdom, to your own plans, to your own abilities, and yet you come up empty. You see, human wisdom is like a well that runs dry, a compass that always points in the wrong direction. It promises much but delivers little. But my wisdom, divine wisdom, is like an ever-flowing river, refreshing, renewing, and life-giving. As it is written, "My thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways." Isaiah 55 verse 8. You have to learn to let go of your limited vision and trust in the far greater vision I have for you. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, beautiful ocean. From your viewpoint, the water seems endless, the horizon so distant you can't quite see where the water meets the sky. Now imagine that this ocean is the wisdom of God. From where you stand, it feels impossible to grasp the depths, to understand it fully, to chart your way through it. But I am here to tell you this: just because you can't see the whole ocean doesn't mean it's not there. And just because you don't understand everything about it doesn't mean you can't trust in it. My wisdom is far beyond what your mind can comprehend, but if you trust me and step into it, you will find your way, you will find your purpose. Consider the story of Abraham. He was an ordinary man with no reason to believe he could be the father of many nations. But God had a higher plan for him, one that Abraham couldn't understand at the time. In his old age, God promised Abraham that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the sky. But to receive that promise, Abraham had to step out in faith. He had to trust that God's wisdom, God's plan, was far greater than his own understanding. It wasn't easy. Abraham had doubts, fears, and moments of questioning. But as it is written, by faith Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going. Hebrews 11 verse 8. He trusted in the higher wisdom of God, and as a result, his life became a legacy of faith and obedience, a legacy that changed the world. You see, divine wisdom requires faith. It requires you to trust when you don't see the way ahead, when everything in your natural mind tells you to turn back, to rely on your own understanding. But as it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3 verse 5. Trusting in God's wisdom doesn't mean you will always understand why things are happening or how they will work out. But it does mean that you can walk forward in confidence, knowing that His ways are always higher, always better, always filled with hope. Let me give you an analogy. Think of a seed that is planted in the soil. It doesn't know the exact process that will unfold, but it trusts that something greater is happening beneath the surface. The seed may appear dead for a while, buried in the darkness of the soil. But in that darkness, something miraculous is happening. The seed is being transformed. It is growing, changing, preparing to emerge into the light. In much the same way, your life, when you surrender to God's wisdom, goes through a process of transformation. There may be moments when you feel stuck, when you feel as though you're in the dark, but trust me, something is happening beneath the surface. You are being transformed. You are growing in ways you cannot yet see. And when the time is right, you will emerge stronger, more fruitful, and more equipped to walk the path I have prepared for you. Consider the story of Joseph, who was sold into slavery by his brothers. It seemed like a tragedy, a setback, and yet, through this trial, God's wisdom was guiding him. Joseph couldn't understand why he had been betrayed, why he had been thrown into a pit, but God had a higher plan. Through his faith, Joseph rose to power in Egypt, and through his position he saved nations from famine. He didn't know how the story would end, but he trusted in God's wisdom. He understood that even when life seemed unfair, God's wisdom was at work. As it is written, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 50 verse 20. What others meant for harm, God used for good. That is the power of divine wisdom. It doesn't just help you in the moment, it transforms your story into something that has eternal significance. Now let's get practical. How can you embrace this divine wisdom in your everyday life? The first step is simple but profound. Surrender. Let go of your own plans, your own timeline, and trust that I know what's best for you. Don't lean on your own understanding. Don't try to control everything. Instead, seek my wisdom through prayer, through reading my word, and through listening to the guidance of the Holy Spirit. You don't have to have all the answers. In fact, the moment you admit that you don't know everything is the moment you open yourself up to receive my wisdom. You can begin right now. Take a moment and ask yourself, what areas of my life have I been holding onto too tightly? Where am I resisting God's wisdom, thinking that my own plans are better? Perhaps it's in your career, in your relationships, or in your personal goals. Maybe you've been trying to figure everything out on your own. But I am telling you now, if you are willing to surrender, to open your hands and release control, you will receive the wisdom that will change everything. Think of the woman at the well, whom I spoke to in the Gospel of John. She came seeking water, but she left with something far greater, a revelation of who I am and the living water I offer. She came with a need, but she left with a new understanding, a new purpose. I gave her the wisdom she needed, and in that moment, her life was transformed. She couldn't see the full picture, but she trusted. She embraced the divine wisdom I offered her, and her life was never the same. In your life, as in the lives of those who have gone before you, embracing divine wisdom will transform you. It will take you places you never thought possible, places filled with peace, joy, and fulfillment. But you must trust in my ways. They are higher than your ways. They will take you further than you ever thought you could go. And if you follow my wisdom, you will find that everything else falls into place. So once again I ask you, are you ready to embrace the wisdom I offer? Are you ready to surrender your plans and step into the divine purpose I have for you? If you do, you will find that my ways are not just higher, they are the only way to live the life you were meant to live. Trust in them and you will see. You will understand. You will flourish.